I'm going to pray, you know those scary things, you know the things that you're scared of the dark? I'm going to pray that when you walk into the room, those scary things go, ah! And take off. Because you are walking with the Spirit of Christ in you, who has authority over those things. Alright? So I'm going to pray that you are dangerous and scary. And my son went, yeah. Yeah. And do you know that we walk around in the downtown east side of Vancouver, in North America's poorest postal code, with open drug market, open prostitution, open violence, open just horrible sort of things going on. And we walk around with our kids, and we walk around in authority. We walk around, and my kids, someone had a vision of my kids walking around once with a lion on a leash. Because, you know, people would walk down and people would just, they'd spread out. They'd walk away. Or they'd come and say, like sometimes I was walking down and I see a guy walking up and he doesn't look all that stable. I'm like, I wonder if this guy's going to be dangerous. And he just walks up and goes, oh, I just want to bless your children. I just want to pray over your children. And he just prays and he says, I just want angels to fly over your children right now. Thank you. That's cool. Do you know that wherever I walk with my kids, you know, if the police come into a park, people won't necessarily put away their drugs. If my kids walk into a park, people put away their drugs. Because we walk in authority. And I'm not afraid to have my kids down there. Now that's a little bit scandalous. Just a little bit. But I like the idea of being dangerous. Have you ever been considered dangerous? You might not want to put up your hand if you're still under charges. Right? Okay? The early Salvation Army, this is what Herbert Booth said, one of the Booth's kids. He said this, he said, they regard us as dangerous, and we are. I think that's cool. And I like upsetting authorities. I have to confess I enjoy doing that. I've got in a lot of trouble for different things. I wrote an article for a Christian magazine once, Salvation Army magazine, suggesting that Jesus was a party animal. Because he was. And then they decided that they said, well, no, that's heretical, and you're not allowed to write for this magazine ever again. It's all right. I was working as a youth pastor at Salvation Army Church, and I had a whole bunch of Christian kids who'd grown up in a Christian church, and I've been discipled from the womb. Great. Okay, let's go and reach your non-Christian friends. Let's go and reach these kids from the street. So start bringing kids from the street in. Ooh, scandalous, dangerous, got fired. Street kids coming into the church, not okay. We really do want to live in comfort. We really do want to protect our people. But I think that the world should be scared of us, not the other way around. Because the world was scared of Jesus. They really were. The authorities were. Sinners loved him. And somehow I think we've got it backwards when sinners don't want to come anywhere near us, but the authorities love us. It's a great reputation. The sinners don't want to come anywhere near us. Somehow I think we've got it backwards. I live in a community that is sort of prepared to be dangerous, prepared to be scandalous. I learned this one of the first times I ever had we were doing a housewarming party for me. We got in town in 64, and we were just talking, and we were mentioning that the gay pride parade was coming up in Vancouver. Huge, hundreds of thousands of people come along. And I just said, hey, wouldn't it be neat if we put a float in the gay pride parade? And I thought people would kind of laugh at that, but like, oh yeah, that'd be kind of neat. Well, we'll be on the float, Aaron. Well, what if we all got on the float, and we had a bunch of water, we're giving out water, and we had a big sign saying, we love gay people. And they were like, good idea. And then they submitted it to divisional headquarters. and to their good, fair enough, divisional headquarters said, I don't think that would be a good idea at this time. It's a little bit too scandalous, a little bit too dangerous. But I live in a community that's prepared to take some risks. That's prepared to stand on a street corner and talk about Jesus and get hit by eggs. And I like that. I like being in that kind of community because it encourages me. I'm living in a community full of radicals. And radical, the word radix, the Latin word, just means root. We're trying to get back to the roots of what the Salvation Army did. We're trying to get back to the roots of what Jesus did. We're trying to live that out where we are. You know, he did dangerous stuff in Booth. You know, they bought a prostitute. Heard that story? John's going to elaborate on that a little bit during his thing. But you could be a prostitute at the age of 14, and they were going to expose this. So they went through the whole thing, and they bought a prostitute, a young girl, and they got her into a safe house, and then they went to jail. And during the trial, they said, this is what's going on. People can go and do this. They can buy young girls, age of 14. That's the age of consent. And they changed the law. The entire law in the United Kingdom was changed because the Salvation Army did that. And sometimes we are so afraid to ruin our reputation that we're not actually willing to be scandalous, not willing to obey what God is calling us to do. Salvation Army is meant to be scandalous. Christians are meant to be scandalous. We're meant to be revolutionary. Now that doesn't just mean in the downtown east side where I live. I don't want to give that impression. That means in your schools too, in your homes, in your churches. I want you to go home at the end of this weekend and be willing to turn things on its head, be a little bit scandalous. And by doing that, you'll actually be holier than by doing nothing, just sitting around being protected. Right? Okay, I want you to just close your eyes for a second. And I want you to think about where you are from. I want you to think about your city. I want you to think about your school. I want you to think about your core. I want you to think about your family and your friends. I want you to start just imagining what might it look like for you in that environment where you are from. What might that look like to actually be revolutionary? What might it look like for you to turn that society on its head? What does scandalous look like in your community? Scandalous for Jesus. Holy kind of scandalous. What does that look like? Where do you think, if Jesus were here now, where do you think he would be hanging out? Who are the wrong kind of people that he would be chilling with? How would he make a change in your society, in your culture? And I just want to play a song.